Have you ever watched a brilliant, perfectly planned strategy just fall flat? Well, today we're cracking open a book that gets to the very heart of why that happens, and more importantly, what you can do about it. This is our deep dive into the cultural resonance assessment. Let's jump right in. You've probably heard this famous quote from the legendary Peter Drucker, right? It perfectly captures this huge frustration so many leaders face. You can cook up the most amazing strategy, but if your company's culture isn't buying what you're selling, that strategy is toast.
I mean, think about it. It's a story we see play out all the time. You have a perfect plan, all the right resources, a super smart team, and yet the big new initiative just fizzles out. It never really takes hold. So what is going on? What's that invisible barrier?
Well, the answer, just as Drucker hinted, is the organization's culture. It's that powerful, unseen force. It's the unwritten rules, the shared beliefs, the way things really get done around here. And here's the kicker. If your new strategy clashes with that culture, the culture is going to win every single time.
And this is exactly where the book, The Cultural Resonance Assessment, steps in. It's basically a field guide for anyone trying to drive change. Leaders, HR pros, you name it. It offers a real, tangible tool to help you work with your culture instead of constantly fighting against it.
The book uses this really great metaphor, a compass. Think about it. In today's world, where culture can literally make or break you, trying to navigate all that complexity without knowing which way is north, that's a massive risk. The CRA is designed to be that compass, to give you a clear reading of where you are right now. So, how does this compass actually work? Well, the book argues that before you take even one step toward change, there's a critical first step you absolutely cannot skip. You have to know the ground you're building on.
And that first step has a name: cultural baselining. It sounds technical, but it's a simple yet incredibly powerful idea. It's all about getting a clear, honest snapshot of your current culture, the good, the bad, and the unspoken rules before you try to change anything.
The book makes a really powerful point about what happens if you decide to skip this part. It says that trying to push for change without having that baseline
Is just like building a skyscraper on a shaky foundation. And that image just says it all, doesn't it? It doesn't matter how brilliant your architectural plans are. If that cultural ground underneath is unstable or you don't understand it, the whole thing is doomed to come crashing down. Okay, we're about to get into a huge lesson from the book on how to make sure that collapse doesn't happen. And if you're finding this useful, it would be awesome if you could take a quick second to like this explainer and subscribe for more content just like it.
All right, let's dig into one of the most practical lessons from the book. This really gets to the core of why so many big, expensive transformation projects just don't work out.
And here it is. The book argues that the #1 reason big transformations fail, whether you're going agile, digital, or whatever's next, is because leaders jump straight to the shiny new solution. They skip the diagnosis. They try to build that skyscraper without ever checking the foundation. So instead of that chaos, the guide lays out a much smarter path. And look at step 1, conduct a thorough cultural baseline. It's the bedrock for everything else. Once you do that, then you can analyze the dynamics, align your strategy so it actually fits, communicate it well, and adapt as you go. It all starts there.
So we know why baselining is so critical. But what exactly is the CRA looking at? What does it measure? Let's take a peek inside the actual framework.
The assessment zooms in on 8 absolutely critical dimensions for a healthy, modern culture. And these aren't just buzzwords, you know? Each one is like a vital sign. Think authentic leadership. Do people trust their leaders? Or innovation and agility. Can the company actually pivot without breaking? Together, these 8 dimensions give you a really rich 360-degree view of your cultural health.
And you might be wondering, how is this different from those old-school employee surveys? Well, the book makes the case that the CRA is built for today's challenges. It's more adaptable, it's really focused on what employees are actually experiencing, and, this is key, it's designed to give you specific, actionable insights, not just a bunch of data that leaves you scratching your head.
And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. The goal here isn't just to get a report card on your culture. The CRA is meant to be a catalyst. It's a tool designed to spark real, honest conversations that are the starting point for genuine, lasting change.
So, as we wrap up our review here, let's just nail down the big idea and think about what comes next. The core message of this book is pretty darn clear. Culture is just too powerful to leave to chance. In a world that changes this fast, trying to lead your organization without that cultural compass, it's a risk you really can't afford to take.
Now, this has been a
Pretty high-level flyover, but there is so much more to unpack here. In our upcoming explainers, we're actually going to dive deep into each one of those 8 cultural dimensions we talked about. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that.
And so, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. If you really honestly took the pulse of your own organization today, what do you think you'd find? What is its true heartbeat?